I break networking down into essentially two, if not three different sections or processes, right? And the first one is this generalized networking that we need to do to get to know who the hiring managers are, right? So someone, tell me the name of a company you want to work for. You can type it in real quick if you want, or just unmute yourself and shout it out. Booz Allen. All right, Howard, you want to work for Booz Allen. All right. Now, I've heard of Booz Allen. I don't remember who they are or what they do, but I bet you I know someone who either works for Booz Allen or knows people who work at Booz Allen. So you want to network with me to find out who those contacts are and get me willing to share those names and contact information with you. That's the networking we're talking about here. Okay? Your goal is always to get introduced to the hiring manager, because the only one who can give you a job is the person who can sign the paycheck and say you're hired. So let's get to that person. Okay? Networking in its simplest, easiest, most basic form is nothing more than building relationships, creating friendships. So how are you building relationships with your friends, with new people you meet at parties? You're going to do the same thing networking for a job. Right? And so I see your question, Howard. How do you suggest using LinkedIn contacts for this stage of networking? And it's really very simple. You want to develop a relationship. So one way you develop the relationship is by engaging with them through their posts and through their comments on LinkedIn. Start, tagging them. Start tagging them with the @ symbol when you post. If you think it's something they're going to be interested in, hey, Milry, check out this article, right? Or Ron, I love what you commented on this topic. Here's how it relates to me, right? But engage with people on LinkedIn. Get them to know who you are and the value that you bring. And then after a couple of back and forths through this engagement, if you're not already first level connections, now you request that connection. And then you engage some more. And again, you're always looking to show the value you bring. You're not asking for a job. You're showing the value you bring to employment. And then you can ask them, who do they know? So you engage with me on LinkedIn, and then I get to know you, and then you can say, hey, Paul, who do you know at Booz Allen? And I'll go through my database, and I'll figure out who I know, and then maybe I'll make the introduction because you've impressed me enough that I feel comfortable and confident that I can make that introduction for you.
Paul, earlier you mentioned the value of connecting with your alumni association. It seems to me that LinkedIn is also a great platform to connect with your alums.
Yes.
From the school, undergraduate, high school, because you can do searches. You can go down to your graduation, your institution, and you can pull up, what those groups are. And that's a way of connecting with them and starting a great series of relationships. There may be people in that group that you haven't talked with in a long time, and they just pop up because they're on LinkedIn.
That's right. So there's how you're going to do that networking, right? Your goal with this generalized networking is several things. You want to learn more about the industry. You want to learn more about the employer. You want to become more of an expert in that space. You also get a chance when you're networking with someone other than the hiring manager You can ask all of the questions you're not allowed to ask on an interview. You know, hey, Milry, tell me, what is the typical salary range for this position? Right? Or you know, Paulo, can you give me a sense of what the management people are like? You know, what's it like to work there? Is it a good company, or are these people real idiots? You know, but you can ask those kinds of questions when you're networking. You can't do that in an interview, right? So you get the opportunity to get a lot of insights into the organization. And at the same time, you're building relationships. I'm going to just give you one other quick tip here for networking, because I think it's a great one that I learned from my husband when he was thrown out of the building for COVID. He works for United Parcel Service in their IT division. And one of the things that he sees as his value, his special sauce that he brings to the table, is his ability to know who are all the right people to ask the questions of when some question comes up. He doesn't know half the answers, but he knows where to go to get the answers from throughout the entire organization, all 1.3 million employees worldwide. He can figure out where to go to get the information he needs to answer that question, right? And he did that because of the relationships he built in the office. Well, being out of the office, he felt like he was lost because he wasn't seeing people on a regular basis. So here's what he did, and this is what I'd like to suggest you consider doing. If you're employed, make a list of the 50 people at your employer that are important people for you to maintain a relationship with for your future at that organization. If you're unemployed, or even if you are employed but you're looking for something new, make a list of the 50 people that you know outside the organization, specifically that work for the companies you want to work for or know people at those companies. Make a list of those people. Now, I'm using 50 as a number. The more, the better, but most people can come up with at least 25, if not 50. And every Monday, you take the top 5 names off that list and you reach out to them. Instant message, text, email, I don't care. Just reach out to them. Leave them a voicemail, whatever works. Reach out to them. And the message you want to give, hey, Scott, not dead yet. Hope you're not too. Let's chat. Right? Now, obviously, you're not going to say it that way. Right? Scott, haven't talked to you in a long while. Love to catch up. Do you have 5 minutes to share a cup of coffee sometime this week? We can do it by Zoom, or I can come see you, whatever works best for you. But let's get together and catch up. By the end of that week, you will have spoken to probably at least 3, possibly 4, maybe all 5 of those people. And your goal is just to get top of their mind, to remind them of who you are and that you're out there and that you have needs of your own, but more importantly, you're looking to find ways to help them. We always want to be offering our assistance before we're asking for help, right? And so every week, you reach out to 5 names. Next week, you take the next 5 names on the list. The week after that, the next 5 weeks, and if you are 5 names. And if you've got 50 names on that list, every 10 weeks, you will have made a reach out to all 50 people on that list. And to talk to somebody once every 2.5 months is not too often. Right? And you're not going to talk to everybody every week. So you'll get a chance to maybe wait 5 months before you're between contacts. Either way, you're going to be remembered who I am because I've reached out to say hello. And that's your goal. Okay. Ultimately,
and Paul, I'll just add, if you find something that you can help them with, make sure you deliver on it.
Without question. Whether you're offering them help or you're following up with them, if you make a commitment, you must live into that commitment, because the day you don't is the last day you'll have a conversation with them ever. Yes.